Hey everyone, and welcome to this quick presentation on preparing your kids for college. Now, if you're watching this presentation, I'm guessing that you're in that uncomfortable stage where you're both excited to send your kid off to college, but at the same time, you're extremely nervous about the unknown and wanting to make sure that they have everything that they need to be on their own for the first time. So, it's my hope that this presentation is going to help educate you on the documents that they're going to need from a legal perspective so that if a situation comes up where your kid is either really sick or they get injured, that way you can swoop right in and make sure that they are well taken care of. And it's also my hope that these documents will then give you some relief and some peace of mind that they're going to be taken care of and that they're okay. So let's go ahead and get started. First, who is this presentation for? Well, obviously, if you are a parent of a young adult, so when I say young adult, I mean someone that is either 18 years and older, or they soon will be when they're in college. And by the way, I keep saying young adult, but throughout this presentation, I'll be interchangeably saying child because even though they are technically young adults, let's be real, at the end of the day, there will always be your kid, right? There will always be your baby. So I do switch off between saying young adult and child. So you're a parent of a young adult. The kid is, your kid is either going to college or they are in college right now. And you want to make sure that you have the legal authority to protect that kid while they're away at college. So a little bit about me first. My name is Aaron Francois. I'm a business and estate planning attorney, and my journey to estate planning started actually back in 2011. I lost my mother suddenly. It was an unexpected death, and she didn't have an estate plan in place. She had no will, no power of attorney. I had no idea what she even owned because there was no inventory of her assets left behind, and my younger sister was 17 at the time. So it was a lot of legal issues that we had to deal with, and it was a mess for us. We ended up losing the house. We had to fight for guardianship of my younger sister so that she could get proper medical care. It was just a mess. And a few years after that happened, I ended up going to law school at the University of Colorado in Boulder, Colorado. And it was during that time that I started learning more about estate planning. And I realized so much of the issues that my family went through during that time frame actually could have been avoided with an estate plan done in place beforehand. I graduated from the University of Colorado School of Law in 2017, and ever since then I've been licensed to practice law in both Arizona and Colorado. And shortly after graduating, I also opened up my own law firm, Francois Law. And I opened up this law firm with three basic principles. The first is that I don't ever want to forget that we are counselors at law. And I really emphasize counselor because, especially when it comes to estate planning, I spend a lot of time really learning about each of my families, what their hopes and their fears are, because those should be reflected in the estate plan. Secondly, I believe in flat fee billing. And as often as I can, I do flat fee billing. Because when I worked for a big law firm, one of the things I disliked the most was having to track every single minute of my day. And we did that because we billed our clients in 6-minute intervals. So if we were sending an email to them, if we were calling them, they were constantly being billed for that. And I didn't like that. So I want to make it so that my firm, it's flat fee, you know exactly how much it's going to cost, and you can feel comfortable calling me if you have any questions and knowing that you're not going to get a bill for that simple, quick call. And then the third one is practical planning. I believe that having the legal documents is one thing, but also making it in a way so that your family can pick up the pieces after you are gone, or if you're sick, is something entirely different. So a lot of my estate plans include practical plans that are in addition to the legal documents. So that's it about me. I know I'm talking a little fast. I'm trying to make this a quick presentation so that you could get as much information as possible quickly, because I know we are all busy these days. So I want to start this presentation off by debunking the top 3 myths that I see when I work with families who have younger adults. So let's go ahead and start with myth number one. Myth number one is that a lot of parents believe that they can continue making medical decisions for their young adult child because of three different areas, right? Either it's their kid, I'm the parent, and you've been making medical decisions for them their entire life, so it just seems you got so used to it, and it just seems natural that since they're your kid, you should be able to make medical decisions for them. The second one is the kid is on your insurance policy, and I believe they could be on their insurance policy well into their mid-20s, and just because they're on the medical insurance policy, you believe that you can make medical decisions on their behalf. Or the third reason is, at the end of the day, chances are you're going to be the one paying the medical bill. So a lot of parents believe that because of these three situations that they have the right to be able to make medical decisions for their kid if something was to come up. Unfortunately, though, that is not the reality. The fact is, once a person turns 18 years of age, in the eyes of the law, they are now considered to be adults. And once they turn 18, they get several new rights, right? They have the right to vote, they have the right to enter into contracts without your permission, and they have the right to make their own medical decisions. So what does that mean to you as a parent? Well, this can become very problematic in a situation where your child becomes either very ill or they're injured. Now, let's do a weird hypothetical. Let's say that they are in a car accident one day and they are rushed to the hospital. Now, if they arrive at the hospital and they are unconscious, then you as the parent are going to have to jump through a few legal hurdles first before the hospital can take medical decisions from you. So, what can you do to make medical decisions for your young adult child? If there's no documentation in place, then the parents will need to go to court and they're going to have to be appointed as a conservator of the young adult. Absolutely, most likely the court's probably not going to object against this, but it takes time. It costs money, both legal fees and attorney fees, and the whole process can be extremely frustrating, especially if this is an emergency situation and you want to make a decision right away. So that is one option, but what I recommend doing instead is actually getting all the paperwork done ahead of time. And that's where it leads me to the second bullet point, which is if the child sets up a medical power of attorney ahead of time, then they can actually designate whoever they want to be their agent. Most of the time, it's going to be the parents that they designate, but it can also be a close relative, especially if they're going to go to college in another state. You want to try to find someone else that's going to be in that state so that they can act immediately and make decisions right away. Or it could even be a close friend that they trust. Whoever they designate, though, they can legally make medical decisions on behalf of your child without court approval. And that's what I recommend doing. But let's go ahead and jump into myth number 2. And this leads to medical information. So a lot of parents believe that they can get access to medical information about their kid because, either they're the parent, the child is on their insurance policy, or the parent is ultimately going to be paying the medical bill at the end of the day anyways. Unfortunately, just like the first myth, that is not true. Once a person turns 18 years of age, medical privacy laws severely limit when people can actually access medical records. Being a parent, being on the insurance policy, or paying for the bill in and of itself does not grant access. So there's 3 ways that you can get access to the medical records. Typically what's done is a conscious adult, you're in the hospital and you go with your kid there. If their kid is conscious, they can say that the doctor can share medical information, they can sign the waivers, and everything's fine. But that assumes that the adult is both conscious and that they have capacity at the time. Let's say that we go into the hypothetical with the car accident situation and they're unconscious by the time they get to the hospital. Well, then obviously they're not going to have the ability to sign a waiver to allow the hospital to talk to you. And if that situation happens, then you as the parent will have to go to court and you're going to have to apply for the conservatorship issue, which obviously we don't want. What I recommend, however, is option number 3. Right before they go off to college, they sign a HIPAA release prior to going to college, and that HIPAA release will authorize whoever they want, typically the parents, to get access to their medical records in the event of the emergency. So that is what the 3 options available. And now let's dive into myth number 3. And myth number 3 deals with financial information. A lot of parents believe that they can make financial decisions for their young adult because they're the parent. And as college students, we tend to see this come up in a couple different ways. Either they need to get access to the bank accounts, they need the ability to change the child's financial aid package that was selected. What about the ability to figure out financial aid problems or tuition problems with the actual college, or the ability to initiate or defend against lawsuits? And we see that last one come up mostly when it comes with car accidents. Either they're the victim of the car accident, or they might be the person that caused the car accident. Either way, chances are a lawsuit might come up from it. So, unfortunately, the fact is, once a person turns over 18 years of age, access to financial records and the ability to contract is severely limited. And you as the parent will not be able to have access or be able to do these functions that we talked about earlier. So how do you access the child's financial records? Again, there's 3 ways here. The first one is, if the kid is at the hospital, they have capacity, they're awake, then the child can grant a financial power of attorney. An attorney can come down there, get all the paperwork ready for them to do that. What I recommend, however, is option number 2, and that is planning in advance. And before they leave to college, they sign a financial power of attorney that gives whatever agent that they select the ability to act on their behalf. And then option number 3 is the one that most people do not want to go through, and that is, in the event that they're incapacitated, they do not have the documents in place, then the parents are going to have to go to court and apply for conservatorship to be able to act on their behalf. So those are the 3 myths. Ultimately, what this leads down to is, before your kid goes to college, they need 4 documents. 3 of them we talked about already: the medical power of attorney, the HIPAA release, and the financial power of attorney. The 4th one is another one that I recommend, and that is a living will. And what a living will does is it gives your child the ability to state what their end of life wishes are if they are in a terminal and irreversible condition. And so what I mean by that is, at what point do they want artificial means to be taken away, and what type of artificial means to be given, right? Maybe they say no artificial means at all, or they can say, I'm okay with hydration, I'm okay with CPR, and I'm okay with nutrition. Whatever it is, it gives them the ability to make those decisions now. These 4 documents are included with every college prep package I make for my clients. So how do you go about getting these documents created before they leave to college? I offer 2 options. The first option is great for the family who does not have an estate plan. If you as the parent do not have an estate plan in place, no worries, you are part of the 65% of Americans who do not have one yet. That's why I'm including this as an option. It's easier for us to do all of it all at once, right? So I'll come in, I'll meet with everybody, I get you guys taken care of, and I get your kids taken care of. And as a bonus, I'm going to include the college prep package for your young adult for free. If this is something that you want to do, right below this video, a screen should have popped up that allows you to go to a scheduler. Schedule a consultation with me, and we can get your entire family taken care of all at once. Now, option number 2 is great if you already have an estate plan, or if you don't have an estate plan in place, but you want to for sure get your kids taken care of first. This is option number 2. You can buy the college prep package all on its own. Now, this college prep package, normally it's going to run for $3.99, but during the summer months, it's going to be on sale for $2.97. I believe that sale goes until July 31st. So if you are interested in that option, right below this video, you should be able to see a buy now button. Go ahead and click that, and the website will guide you through the process. Which leads me to the last part here, right? What does this process look like? Now, I designed this to be quick and easy for both you and your kid. If you choose the buy now option, you're going to be taken to a quick 5-minute form that you, as the parent, will need to fill out. This will allow you to complete your purchase and sign an engagement agreement with my firm. Once you fill out that form, your child will get an email with an intake form. And it's, the email is very nice. It tells them, hey, your parent bought you a gift, and this is very important for you to get done before you leave to school. It helps get you ready to get your adult life set on the right foot. And it then leads them to an intake form. This intake form will only take about 15 to 20 minutes to complete. It's pretty easy. I have lots of instructions on there, so it's very easy for the kid to understand what they're doing. But if they are confused or if they have questions, there is also an option on there that leads them to schedule a video conference with me, and I can help answer any questions that they may have. Now, after they submit the intake form, I'll review everything, make sure it's good, and they're going to be prompted to schedule a signing ceremony with me. Usually that's about 72 hours out after filling out the paperwork. And at the signing ceremony, I'll meet with them, they'll sign all the paperwork, and once the documents are signed, they're legally effective so that they could be immediately used. Your child will keep the originals. I'm going to go ahead and digitize the documents, and they can then share the digital documents with whoever they want. Especially if most of the time they name the parents as the agents. I'd say 95% of the time they name the parents as agents. And in that case, I always tell them make sure that they share those digital documents with you so that you have it in your own storage. And if you have to, if an event comes up, you already have the paperwork ready and you can show it to the hospital, the bank, whoever needs to see it. So that's it for the presentation. I try to keep it at 15. It looks like I ran at just a little over 16 minutes. So sorry about that. But if you have any questions, please give me a call. My cell phone or my office number is 480-371-1532. Or you can shoot me an email, aaron@francoislaw.com. I appreciate you taking the time. Have a great day.